All right, so with our handsome Mr. Sterling, I wanted to do a little bit with some practice with leave-its. So again, leave-its are going to be items that are always off limits. So I know we've dived into this a little bit in class in the past. So when it comes to practicing leave-its, there's a lot of different ways some folks will rock it. I kind of work it in a way where no matter what the leave-it item is, it's always off limits. So that's where you wouldn't want to pick something like, for example, your dog's food or your dog's toy, say leave it, and then say later to go grab it, because I feel that becomes really confusing. So if, for example, we have told the puppy to leave a treat alone and then we let them go grab it a few moments later, the problem with that is eventually the leave it is something we do play, engage, or eat. So I feel I'd instead recommend use your wait while the puppy is waiting, and then you're ready, you release them by their name, and you can either tell them to go get it or go, their name and all set, or whatever little slogan makes sense to you guys. So if, let's say, for example, your puppy did get in the habit of grabbing, playing, or eating leave it items, what happens when you say leave it, you drop some pills in the ground, your puppy might eventually think, hey, I'm just going to go grab them now. Maybe their impulse control isn't so great. And because leave its have been the reinforcement, they're going to go and try to grab those leave its if they're interested. So with my guys, I try to make it where leave its are always off limits. So that way, no matter what is going on, your leave it is yucky. Oh, I guess, I don't know if you saw him, but he maybe had to go potty. So let me just see if we might have to sneak out for a potty break. Nope, I think he's okay. All right, sorry. I wasn't sure if if he was thinking about going to the restroom off in the distance, but he's doing okay. So let's say, for example, our handsome guy is having a challenge with leave it items. I would recommend to make leave its be always off limits, like we were just discussing. So if you're going to eventually let your puppy go grab their toy, that could be a wait, and then you release them to go grab it. So what I like to do in the beginning is practice with my pup coming into my space and practicing that moving into my bubble has value. And then I apply that on leash, and then I apply it with some distraction, which could be a leave it as well. So leave its for my guys also eventually turn into like that's an automatic leave it. And then they start to just instantly check in. And for ignoring something, that's what gives them the paycheck. So we're going to try and get our puppy up and moving. What I like to do is work on engagement with the handler first before throwing in the leave it in general. So you can see that Mr. S is very interested in working with me, checking in. If I was losing him throughout this practice, I would see if I could build in some more engagement with me instead of the environment. So one of my favorites is to, when the puppy's in front of you, bring them into your space and work a little bit with a front or doing a U-turn and heading back towards you. And I find that can be very beneficial. So right here, we're going to bring him into our space and feed for that. So creating this orientation back to the handler. So we could be moving and I bring him into that front. So the reason some of these dance moves can be a little bit connected is anytime we're getting engagement, checking in, working on changing the direction in which the puppy was moving can be another great way to help your puppy hone back in on you versus everything else. So let's say, for example, we're going to start off our practice. Typically, I like to work it on gear. If your leash, again, like we've kind of discussed a little bit in some of the other videos, if your puppy gets really excited when your gear comes out, try to help them choose other behaviors instead of mouthing or jumping or grabbing for gear. Because if your puppy is really jazzed and that's when you hook them up, they might think that being a little bit of a wild boy or girl is what gives them the gear to then do the other more fun things as well. So you may by accident be reinforcing some of that excitement by working them further while they're a little bit too jazzed. Nice. I'm going to feed for this. So let's say we're going to go ahead. We're going to clip on this handsome guy. So now we're attached to our puppy. What I would highly recommend is if your puppy is really finding leave-its to be hard, do not start with leave-its that could be dangerous for them in the sense of things they could easily swallow whole or gulp. If your puppy tends to be a resource guarder, there are going to be certain things that we'd want to work on to prevent some of those rehearsal moments, but also to make sure we're not making things harder for the puppy than it has to be. So for starters, I'm gonna just grab one of my trash items. So it's like a plastic bag. What I like to do is so the puppy doesn't get too excited trying to reach for the bag is in the beginning, I'm gonna just, since I'm all by my lonesome, I'm setting up my no item. Hopefully we can all see it in the screen. I may actually wanna go double check. So once he's done finding his find it. So the benefit of doing this find it is as I was tossing the thing, he didn't see me throw it and then want to run and chase it. This way he was busy with the find it. So there's my trash item. So right here we go leave it. Yes, and I feed him for that. So we have practiced this in the past as well while in class and with mom as well being present. So there's my trash item. Yes. If my puppy ignores or decides to hone it on me, right there, yes. So I do have the leash so that way my puppy cannot reach the thing in the beginning. So view your leash as not the thing that creates behavior, but the thing that could prevent some situations that could be either dangerous for your puppy or view it almost like training wheels. So it's helping him learn how to do the thing, but eventually they do come off. So here's that trash. We might go leave it. Yes. And feed for that disengagement. Smart boy. Ready? So we'll try again. So we only get close enough to the item where he notices the thing. Yes. And he can either on his own ignore or redirect to me versus the thing. And then we feed for that. If let's say he had a hard time checking in, I would either say his name or do the kissy noise, which could be that positive interrupter, and feed for that awesome check-in from there. I know those little kibbles, they're very rolly. He found it though. Good job. So my leash should not be like yanked on or popped or pulled to kind of teach him what not to do. Because remember that a leash jerk is just going to scare the puppy. He won't understand why he's getting reprimanded. He's just going to think that at times we are safe and other times we are unsafe and unpredictable. So we want a puppy to feel safe making mistakes around us, not apprehensive to even try because they're worried about getting reprimanded. So again, let's say he's doing a really nice job passing by right there, leave it. Nice. If, for example, he does get to the end of the leash, I'm not yanking, but maybe he gets to the end of the lead, he feels it, and he does a little check-in. That could be a great moment for him too. So let's say we're gonna go past the leave it. Oh, that was so pretty. But let's say your puppy were to go near it, and in a moment, maybe he does go to check it out or grab for it. As opposed to doing our typical, which would be like to instantly squeal and like try to pry it from their mouths, I would recommend to check out the toy exchange game because you do want to practice getting him to grab and let go of things he's allowed to have. So letting go of something doesn't equal confrontational, bad, or the end of the game. Because if every time we've said drop it for something he swipes, he's going to think that drop it means I'm going to take it from you. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say I'm going to get way too close to my leave it item. The puppy might go check it out or potentially try to grab it. I'm going to go right into a find it to get him to think that letting go has more value than grabbing the thing. So we're going to go past or towards the thing. He's like, oh, I'll just step on it. Yes. Nice. So if your puppy, for example, didn't ignore the thing even after they step on it, then I would say that we're working a little too fast. So like right here, he might approach. Yes. And he doesn't even care. He's like, lady, I'm working my big boy skills. So let's say maybe we try from the other side. So we're going to now try it where he might be approaching and seeing it from the opposite side of his body. So we're going to try a little bit. I might be out of camera range, sorry. And I'm going to try to pass by the item. Nice. Good job. These kibbles, I'm dropping them everywhere. He's like, don't worry, I like find it still. Good job. So let's say your puppy's doing a pretty good job with one of the household items. This is just a plastic bag, ready? With some old acorns in it that could be a nice visual for distraction's sake. So maybe I'll grab another household item, so like paper products, like so there's paper towel roll, for example. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna plant a couple little find it's just for a second so I can go ahead and plant my other trash item. Nice. So once he's done finding his little morsels, we're going to go into working a little bit with this new trash item. He's like, hold up, I missed one. Very nice. So for ignoring the thing, I'm going to feed him for that. I'm just going to mix up some of these snackers. There we go. We have some of the other yummy ones at the bottom. He's like, oh, that sounds amazing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to approach our trash. and then we're going to see if we can just disengage from it. Smart boy. So I'm going to feed him for ignoring it, but I'm going to try and pass by again from this side too, so you can see it from both sides. Ready? So this could be on the left or the right, whichever feels comfortable. So there's my trash. Nice. So all these moments where my puppy could care less, I'm feeding him for ignoring the thing, versus, for example, scolding him for noticing the thing. So right here, I might go, leave it. And let's say he notices and maybe he's like, oh, that's delicious. Nice. So I got a little stuck on my gear with my slimy hands. So let's say he goes towards the thing and you ask for the leave it. You want to see that disengagement where it's not a big deal to move away, but it's also not too scary to like approach it and then ignore it. So for some puppies, it's turned into a game where novel things equal, I'm going to catch it, and then they're going to try to keep away with me. So that was really pretty right there. Nice. Good job. Smart boy. So, but if, for example, leave it items turn into a game, so you're constantly saying leave it over and over, you're squealing as you're chasing him. If leave it's turn into a game where you're constantly chasing him, he might not realize that leave it's are ignore it. He might think leave it's are swipe the item and then have a really great time playing tag or keep away. So he may not realize that you don't like the concept because we keep participating in a way from his perspective that seems like a lot of fun. So I like to then, as they're practicing, go ahead and pass by, nice, and work through those items even off gear as your puppy gets more fluid and more resilient for this game. But if your puppy was, as they were working near them, even 5-10 feet away, were hauling towards the item, I wouldn't go ahead and make it harder and harder by doing it closer when they don't quite know how to disengage. And then you also don't want to do off leash even in your home yet, because they might think the whole game is ignore you while you're squealing the distance, grab for the thing, play with it, and then all of a sudden we become again the end of the game by taking the thing away. So, but like right now with Mr. S, we're just kind of walking and passing by it. We're walking and stepping on top of it. We're passing and sort of noticing the thing and then ignoring it. Nice. Good job. And then we're feeding for that disengagement. But if your puppy doesn't find value in working with you and having fun and having this connection, it's going to be really hard to gain focus from your puppy if novel things are presented and they don't have a foundation first. So right there, I can do my little kissy noise, regain his attention, and feed him for coming back to me versus going and checking out the trash. What a smart boy. He's like, how about a sit? That's very nice. But I would recommend is for any of the things you're working on with the handsome boy, is make sure that it's going in the direction you were hoping. If you're feeling like it's getting a little bit hairy, no offense to him, or it's just not looking the way you were hoping, sometimes break it down into smaller little chunks. And it's probably going to be much more attainable for him and for you to then change a response or help him through a training or behavior session. Nice job. But maybe we'll give a little Mr. T a breather. I'm just going to do a little find it for him. I'll pick up my trash, and then we'll call it a day for this beautiful boy working some of these no-no items. But he did a really good job with those leave-its. Very impressive.